I'm Ray Mills, and I'm young and great. Well, I'm Ray Mills. I'm an American businessman. Um, I have owned and operated over 8 businesses. I've sat on the board of over 20 businesses, from here to LA to New York and Miami. I'm currently building out a space in Tennessee, well, Nashville, Tennessee, downtown Nashville, Tennessee. My main business right now is property, which is real estate. Outside of my new book, Let's Start a Business. Finding myself. I think that's very important. Is in order to build a brand, you have to find yourself, and you have to be comfortable within yourself. Because if you're not comfortable within yourself, then the people can't buy into your brand. They don't believe in your brand. So the most challenging thing was for me was finding myself, considering my background and where I come from. It was challenging. The negative thoughts actually inspired me, and the negative attention that I've had over the years through social media or in reality kept me going. I use that as a threshold or a stepping stool, so to speak, to be successful. Because I feel like, if people aren't talking about you, then you're not progressing. And I'm one of those people that think that if everybody loves you, then something's wrong. You're too safe. If everybody loves you, then you're too safe. I think that's impossible. Or you're trying to, you can't make everybody happy. So I use the negative, the naysayers, so to speak, as a stepping stool to my success, to motivate me to get up every morning. That was one of the motivations, to get up every morning and prove everybody wrong. Waste of my time. Completely waste of my time. I didn't need it, and that's just my experience. I could have took that money that I paid through college or in that time and actually used it toward business. I think when you become an entrepreneur, the best learning experience is to actually do it. It's not necessarily sitting in a classroom, because they can't tell you what to do when you have overhead at $10,000 a month and you only have 5. A book isn't going to tell you what you need to do. Only experience is going to tell you what you need to do to make sure that you can pay that overhead of your business or whatever, or if you need to liquidate or whatever the case may be. Only experiences is going to teach you that, not a classroom. So for me, school was a waste of a few years of my life, my precious life. And as an entrepreneur in what I do, now if you want technology or something, that's fine. But in what I do, it was not needed. I haven't used it. It sits, I got a plaque sits in my grandparents' house. I don't even have it in my house. It sits on my grandmother's wall, and they look at my degree. I've never used it. Well, that's in meditation. A lot of it is meditation within, and I'm a faith-based person. I understand that we live in a society today where they're taking, spirituality or God out of the schools and things like that. So they're trying to get away from, the tradition of spirituality, so to speak. But I'm kind of old school. So when I need help, I don't necessarily pick up the phone and call people. I actually ask God, and I meditate, quite often in which direction I need to do and who I need to work with and what I need to be doing at that present time. And then he usually reveals in that present time on what I need to do today in order to be successful or to go down the right path for tomorrow. Well, negotiation isn't about, like you said, jewing somebody down for their work or getting the cheapest price. I feel like 98% of things that we do in life can be negotiated on both parties to make both parties happy. So when I do a lot of business, you may have a set price and I have a set budget. We have 2 options. Either you cannot accept my negotiations because you have a set price, or you can hear my negotiations out and we both get paid and we can both probably make magic. You know what I mean? So I tell people, don't overvalue yourself. When you have a product, like I have a book, okay? My book I'm selling for $15, okay? I can sell that book for $20, but I sell the book, I negotiated within myself to go down to $15 to sell more books. I didn't overvalue myself and say, hey, I spent 2 years writing this book and you're gonna pay me $20 for this book. You never know how many people that can afford a $15 book. You never know how that may affect them, and they may come back and bless you with even more. But if you just think one price in your head and you're not willing to negotiate, then a lot of times you miss out on your blessings. Your blessings don't always come as packaged as you want, you know? So back to the main subject was, I negotiate not to Jew, not to rip off, but I feel like a lot of things can be negotiated for both parties, can remain happy and applicable to do business together. Because I myself felt like my book was worth $20 because of this blood, sweat, and tears I put into it, and how much time I failed in order to write this book. And I had to negotiate with them myself and say, okay, are you going to overvalue yourself, or you're going to put it at a price point where people can afford it, it's more appealing, and you can reach more people? So I had to negotiate within myself. And sometimes you have to do that as an entrepreneur. You have to negotiate within yourself to say, okay, today I know that, for instance, okay, I may charge $500 an interview. Okay, but I got 3 people can't afford $500. I know I charge $500. So, but I'm gonna give these people a break, and I'm only gonna charge $300. That's negotiating within yourself, and then you have to come at peace. You have to come in peace with yourself. Don't do it angry. When you negotiate with yourself, come at peace. Become one again, because you become two. It sounds funny, but when you're negotiating with yourself, you're negotiating with your spirit and then your human body. So when you negotiate with those two, and you come up with whatever you come up with, you come back as one. And don't go in there, because some people they'll do something and then they don't really want to do it. And it entails, or the person will feel, you really didn't want to give me this deal. That means you're not at peace and you're not at one. You're still split about the decision. So when you negotiate within yourself, make sure you're on one accord with whatever decision you make. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds a little outside of the box, but a lot of people don't look at it like that when you negotiate with yourself. That is a task within itself. I'm an owners that I'm usually hands on. So the people that I employ, they kind of work directly with me. Now, I can't necessarily speak for Coca-Cola, Pepsi, the big Fortune 500 companies, because I'm not there yet. But myself, I still have enough time to be hands-on. So I usually can catch when somebody's stealing from me, or they're not running my business the way I would run it, because I'm usually hands-on. And I pray about a lot of things. It goes back to my faith, and I pray. Is this person supposed to be in my circle? Do I supposed to be working with this person? Is this person energy is going to bring positive vibes to my company, to my situation, to my brand? So I make a lot of decisions based upon spirituality within myself. It's the world. When you walk into a bank, or when you walk in to go get a house or apartment or a car, they don't know you. I don't care how you look, what kind of suit you're wearing, or what kind of shoes you have on. The only thing they know is that 9-digit number that you was attached to when you was born. That's all they know. So with that being said, unless you want to be a hermit all your life and not do anything, then when you step outside, you're going to need that credit. Credit will take you further than any cash. And I was speaking with somebody about that the other day, that credit is king. Credit is, they when you go get a house, when you go get a car, when you go in to get clothes, or whatever the case may be, that's what they look at. They look at those 9-digit numbers, and in our community, we're not necessarily taught the importance of it. We're taught that if we can't afford to pay for it cash, then we don't need it, which is the most insane thing that I personally was ever taught. My grandparents raised me, so they're like that. If you can't save or afford to pay for it cash, then don't do it. That's insane. I call it OTP, other people's money. OPM, other people's money. And my definition is, I like to keep my cash. And I use other people's money because it's there to be used. But in order to be able to use it, you have to have good enough credit to use it. And you have to build that credit, and you have to guard that credit, because, if you got car insurance based upon your credit, health insurance based upon your credit. They've designed this world, this country of ours is based around credit. And then the African American community seems to be shut out because we wasn't educated on that. So we wondering how this guy get a 50-story building in the middle of Manhattan. Credit. He didn't save up $50 million to buy the building. No, he built this credit to do it. And that was the foundation for him to make a living for him, his family, and anybody else. So credit is key. It's very important.
What would you say to the young African Americans coming up today about something quick and something that they can take with them about preparing for that credit?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say?
Guard your credit. Be mindful of what you sign. Be mindful of the debt that you're going into, including school and student loan debts. I think that the number one thing that the people under the age 25 have is student loan debt. And they don't think long term that this stuff will affect them, and it does. It usually takes 20, 30 years to pay off student loans if you've been in school 4 or 5 years. So I would say watch what you sign, watch the interest rates. 7 years. It takes 7. If you max your credit and you don't pay it, one ding on your credit can be worth 40 to 50 points. So imagine 2 dings. The highest score you can possibly get in credit is 815. The lowest is 300. So we usually start at 650. So 2 dings will take you where? To 550. You can't buy a stick of bubble gum at that point. So before they get out here and just run it up, I would say be mindful of it. It's okay to have it. It's okay to have a few credit cards, but make sure you keep it under 20%. I know we're even taught to keep it 30%. I tell people no, it's 20%, because if you have 5 cards, what's 30 times 5? That's what the banks look at. So your utilization is still high once you add up the percentile. And so I would just say be mindful of what you're spending, because it can have an everlasting effect on your life down the road, on your adulthood. When you try to go get health insurance, or you try to go get car insurance, when you try to go get your first place or your first car that you want to buy, you're going to have to pay more for it in interest because you spent time maxing out your credit cards. When I realized that that's the only thing that cannot be reproduced. You can't reproduce land. They can't build more land. They have to build on top of it. So why not get in something that can't be reproduced? I don't care what kind of scientific thing, they can't make more land. God made one world. That's all we get. And now we have to maximize it. So if you own a piece of what God has made, or you own a piece of that land, then you're always going to have some money. Because guess what? Somebody's going to eventually want to build on it. Especially in today's world, they're looking for land to either tear down and build on, or just build on if it's just land. So I realized that people are always going to need somewhere to stay. As long as you live, people are always going to need somewhere to stay. So why not get into a business that people are going to always need? I don't care how much technology come along or what happens on the news. Some people are going to always need a roof over their head. So why not get in a business that's never going anywhere? I started on the commercial side when I was buying commercial property years ago, about 7 years ago. And then I moved to the residential side about 5 years ago. And I've been more so on the residential side for the past 5 years than commercial. Because of, and that's another thing. You can go to school, get your real estate license, and it just didn't make any sense to me again. I had to go study, I had to go take this test, and to get, 3 to 5% commission on somebody else's property. Why don't I just go buy my own property? And I'll pay somebody 3 to 5%, and I'll collect the rest. So it just didn't make any sense. I thought about going to school to be a real estate agent, but I said, I don't like those percentiles. It makes no sense to me. I like the bigger percentage. So I'll just be the owner. And then I hire real estate agents and pay them that 3 to 5% commission. Hip hop generation usually is Diddy. I like Sean Combs. He's great. I like Jay-Z. I like Warren Buffett. Bill Gates, I like him. Those are the guys I read about more frequently than none, so to speak, because that's different genres. All 4 of those guys I just named taught me 4 different things about business, and they all had their own way of teaching, but they all made it to the same place. So I took a little here, 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 and here, and I just added it up in myself, and I hope and pray I can make it to their level one day. I started my first business was 11 years old, and I started that business because my grandparents always had a strict budget. So when kids were wearing Jordans and at the time Reeboks and stuff, my grandparents were like, no, that's not in our budget. Your shoe budget is $35. So you couldn't get no Jordans for $35 or the cool shoes. I might got some Sauconys for $35. So I started cutting grass at 11, and I ran across a guy named Barry Huff. And he lived next door to my grandparents. He worked for the IRS. And I would cut his grass once a week. And then I noticed he never went to work. I said, this guy's always home. And he'd be home in his relaxation clothes. And then one day I asked, I said, what do you do? This boy knew he worked for the IRS. He said, I work for the IRS. I said, but you're always at home. How are you working? I'm 11, 12 years old at this time. He said, no, I work from home. And then I became a student at that point. And I wanted to know, well, he got nice cars in the driveway, he got a nice house. Like, he take trips, he got motorcycles and stuff and he don't go to work. And I watch my grandparents go to work every day. So I'm curious on how to do that, because I'm out here slaving right now. And he taught me a lot about credit and the importance of credit and how to guard your credit. And I was not an exception. I screwed my credit up when I was in my early 20s. Screwed it all the way up. I even had the knowledge not to screw it up, and I still screwed it up. And it cost me dearly, though. So I've been knowing about credit since about 12 years old. Yes. You don't know what you're made of until you go through something. If everything works out okay, and one thing about life is something's going to happen that's not going to work out okay. So if you're one of those kids or people that strike gold the first time, okay, for instance, you got singers or rappers, they get one hit, and then they think, oh, it's easy now, and then you look 10 years later, you don't even hear from them. They had that one hit, and I think that's the worst thing you can do is go into business and automatically be successful because you didn't learn anything. You learn through your failures. If you go in and you get your first hit and don't learn anything, then you don't know what to do to maintain that business. You just struck gold. You learn in your failures. And I'm a strong believer of that. So through all the things I've been through, I wouldn't take none of it back because now I know what to do. I don't panic anymore. I don't stress anymore because my failures have taught me what to do to overcome whatever I got going on currently in my life or whatever may come toward me. My failures have taught me what to do and how to remain calm. So I learned through failures. And if you haven't failed, then you're not running a successful business, if you ask me. We living in a time where things are very shallow. We live in a shallow period. And I want my people and the people of the world to take a step back and really think about what matters, which is your family, your friends, your health. It's not necessarily this material stuff. It's not the hip hop generation. It's not reality TV. Just really take a step back and start to love again. I don't think this generation loves enough. I think it's very shallow and it's very fictitious, so to speak. Just love. I really want people to love more. I got over 500 businesses you can start for under $1,500. I know you get tired of waking up every morning going and work on somebody else's dreams, but this book that I have will also help you work on your dreams at the same time. And hopefully eventually you can transition into your own space, doing your own thing, making your own living within yourself. One of the first businesses that I had, which in the book is obviously a lawn service, and I started a lawn service at 11 years old. And the second business I ever had was a car wash, which is also in the business that you can start for under $1,500. And both of those I was successful at. And it also taught me the value of a dollar because you work for every dollar, literally, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. And also taught me the value of hard work and putting in labor and understand that sometimes you have to put in hard work and labor in order to make your company or your business successful. I'm Ray Mills, and I'm young and great.